operations, what those mean and how to evaluate them. So first example, if I told you f of x is 3x minus 4 and g of x is 2x squared minus 1, what do you think f plus g of 0 would mean?
You add the two together.
Add the two together, and what's my x value?
0.
0. So what we can do, it's really just saying you plug a 0 into each of them and add it together. So if I put a 0 into f, 3 times 0 minus 4, we get, if I put a 0 into g, 2 times 0 squared minus 1, 0 minus 1, so negative 1. So negative 4 plus negative 1 gives me negative 5. So we put the 0 into both and add our answers together. The next one. F times g of negative 2. So what does f times g mean? Plug negative 2 in for each of them, and then we'll multiply our answers together. So if I put a negative 2 into f, 3 times negative 2 minus 4, what does that give me?
Negative 10.
Put a negative 2 into g, so 2 times negative 2 squared minus 1. So negative 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8, minus 1 is 7. So negative 10 times 7. I only gave you addition and multiplication examples, but this certainly works with division and subtraction as well. So if I'm asking you to do those operations, you can plug your x value into each of them and then add, subtract, multiply, or divide your answers. I want to look at a couple where I'm not giving you an equation. So this on A, I gave you two graphs. F of x is this upside down parabola, g of x looks like the v, the absolute value graph. If I said f minus g of 0, what that means is you have to find f of 0 minus g of 0. This is our x value. So what it's saying is when the x is 0, what is the y value of f? 4. Minus, when x is 0, what is the y value of g? 4 minus 0 is 4. So on these graphs, the number I'm giving you is the x, you have to find the y. So if I ask for f divided by g of negative 2, that means f of negative 2 divided by g of negative 2. F of negative 2, if I look at my graph, when my x is negative 2, what is the y value of f? Divided by, when the x is negative 2, what is the y value of g? And 0 divided by 2 is 0. Does everyone understand how I got the values from the graph? The number I'm giving you is x, you're finding y. Right? You could also have a table. So if I ask for f minus g of 0, so f of 0 minus g of 0, that means my x is 0. What's f of 0? Negative 1. Minus, what's g of 0? So negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. for negative 2? F of negative 2 divided by g of negative 2. So when the x is negative 2, what's the y value of f? Negative 5. Divided by, what's the y value of g? Can you do negative 5 divided by 0? So what do I put? Undefined or no solution. Can't have 0 on the bottom. That was one of our domain rules from yesterday. I want you guys to try C. So this one I gave you the equations. F of 0. Minus g of 0. So 4 minus 0 is 4. We divide f of negative 2. If you put a negative 2 into f, what do you get out? Divided by g of negative 2. The absolute value of negative 2 is 2, but I have a negative in front of that. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. I want you guys to try from the graphs. So take a few minutes, try these on the graphs, and we'll check ourselves. F minus g of negative 2. You have to find f of negative 2 and subtract g of negative 2. The negative 2 is the x. You're finding y. So go ahead and find when the x is negative 2. Okay, this is the only point. F of negative 2 is negative 3. Does g of negative 2 exist? No. So I said, if possible, use them. Since there isn't a g, we can't do it. So this is just no solution. That doesn't exist. Because function g doesn't exist at negative 2. The second one, f times g of 1. So we have to find f of 1 times g of 1. So this time my x is 1. So I'm going to go when my x is 1. These are the points. So the y value of f is the line. The y value of that is 3 times g of 1. So here's function g. When the x is 1, the y value is 1. And 3 times 1 is 3. Last one, f divided by g of 0 says f of 0 minus or divided by g of 0. So when x is 0, what's the y value of f? So here's when we're at 0. What's the y value of f? Divided by, what's the y value of g? And 1 over 0? Okay, let's do another one. I want you to do f plus g of 4. So when my x is 4, what's the y value of f? Plus, what's the y value of g? And 9 plus 2. So the number I'm giving you is x. You have to find the y's on your graph. Does that make sense to everybody? Let's look at this one. So all of the ones we've done so far, I've given you numbers to plug in. We could find f minus g of x, where I'm not giving you a number. We're going to just find an expression that still has x in it. And it means the same thing. We're just going to do f of x minus g of x. What is f of x?
3x
Minus, what is g of x? Okay, if I want to subtract those, make it plus and distribute a negative. So 3x plus negative x is 2x. Negative 5 plus negative 4. I also asked for the domain. When I look at this, There's not a fraction, there's not a radical, so what's my domain? Right, B. F times g of x. That just means take f of x times g of x. What is f of x? Times what is g of x? So to multiply those, we have to FOIL. So we get 3x squared plus 12x and minus 5x plus 7x minus 1.
Well,
What is my domain? Still no fractions or radicals, so the domain is still everything. C. I want f of x divided by g of x. F of x is 3x minus 5. G of x is x plus 4. I am not asking you to do long division or anything crazy here, okay? We just need this expression. So it's a fraction. Does anything obviously cancel out? Like, is everything divisible by 2, or do I have the same factor on top and bottom? No. So that's it. They both have an x, but because there's multiple terms, we can't cancel it. Now, the domain of that one. It's a fraction. What do we know about fractions? What can't equal 0?
Denominator.
So x can't be negative 4. So my domain is everything except negative 4. So negative infinity to negative 4. Union negative 4 to infinity. So we can leave it in terms of x if asked to do so. In domain, if I ask for domain, same rules as yesterday. Look for your fractions and radicals. Any issues with this? There is one last piece I want to talk about today. We're going to go ahead and look at the difference quotient. This difference quotient is an expression, f of x plus h minus f of x over h.
I'm back.
Hi, it's good to see you. So, to find that, we usually break it into 3 steps. And if I were to give you this on test or quiz, I'm not going to expect you to just know what the difference quotient is. I would say, part A, find f of x plus h. Part B, find f of x plus h minus f of x. Part C, the whole thing. So I would break it into these steps. This has some pretty important applications. You won't see them in this class. It's just not the way it works. But we do need to know how to evaluate some of these expressions. So we're going to practice some of these today, and then I will be done once we finish those. So if I ask for the difference quotient, we will do one step at a time. If I ask you for f of x plus h, think about it. If I said find f of 5, what would you do? Plug in 5. So if I said find f of x plus h, you're going up here, and you are replacing x with x plus h. Okay, so I didn't give you a number to plug in. I gave you an expression, and that replaces the current variable. As far as simplifying this, we can distribute the 2, so we get 2x plus 2h minus 3. That's all we can do. Part A is always going to be the ugliest of the 3. You're putting in x plus h, you get this expression. Part B, f of x plus h minus f of x. What is f of x plus h? Yeah, I'm just asking you to use the answer we just got. Minus, what is f of x? Yeah, the original. Okay, if there's a negative, so we're subtracting, we change it to a plus, distribute our negative. And now, that's really nice because 2x and negative 2x cancel. Negative 3 and positive 3 cancel. So I just get 2h. All right, part C. Is everyone with me so far? Okay. So part C. F of x plus h minus f of x. What is f of x plus h minus f of x? 2h is the answer we just got out. Divided by h. So it's the answer we just got divided by h, and we get, so that is our final answer. So we are going to do a Math Excel. If the question just says, what's the difference quotient, it's that final answer. You have to do all the steps. Yeah, so let's try a couple more of these. All right. If my function is negative 2x squared, so first f of x plus h, that says you go to this function, you replace the x with x plus h. What does it mean to have x plus h squared? There's two of them. So how would I square that? You have to split. So that's x squared plus xh, and plus xh would be plus 2xh plus h squared. So if I distribute my negative 2, I get negative 2x squared minus 4xh minus 2h squared. Part A is always the longest part. After part A, things should cancel out every time. So you had to write x plus h twice, FOIL it, and then we could multiply through the negative 2. Part B, f of x plus h minus f of x. What is f of x plus h? Good. That answer we just got. Minus, what is f of x? So minus a negative is plus. Then my negative 2x squared and positive 2x squared cancels. We get negative 4xh minus 2h squared. Part C. What is f of x plus h minus f of x?
Negative 4h minus 2h.
That whole answer we just got, negative 4xh minus 2h squared. I have to take that divided by h, so you have to take an h out of everything. So we get negative 4x minus 2h, and that's my final answer. All right, so the square made that one a little bit longer, but still doable. One more. Final one for today.
That was too complicated, I can tell.
Are there any questions on this one?
There's gonna be some on the extra.
I'll make sure I'm doing this and slow then. Okay, so my expression got uglier. But we know part A is the hardest part. So if we can get A, we can get the rest. What does f of x plus h mean? both of the x's in the original problem become x plus h. So it's 3x plus h squared minus 2x plus h plus 4. If I want to do 3x plus h squared, so if I want x plus h squared, we have to FOIL that. So that gives me x squared plus xh and plus xh would be 2xh plus h squared. So all I did was the square portion. Order of operations tells me I have to do the exponents first. Now we can multiply everything. So we're distributing. So that gives me 3x squared plus 6xh plus 3h squared minus 2x minus 2h plus 4. That one was ugly. We had multiple x's, so we had a lot of terms in our answer. All right. Questions there? Part B. F of x plus h minus f of x. So that's the answer we just got. Minus f of x is the original problem. So I have to distribute this negative. And that helps a lot because 3x squared and negative 3x squared cancel. Negative 2x and positive 2x cancel. 4 and negative 4 cancel. So I'm left with 6xh plus 3h squared minus 2h. On that second part, things should always cancel out. If they don't, you have made a mistake somewhere. All right. Now, part C. F of x plus h minus f of x is the answer we just got. We're dividing that whole thing by h. So that gives us 6x plus 3h minus 2. Take an h out of that. Are there any questions? So, the homework. There is a math Excel. You can't do all of the questions yet, and unfortunately, they are kind of jumbled up. So I'll look through it and write down what you can do. But basically, you need to skip any with compositions right now. Unless you remember how to do those from last year. So I will.
I use a restroom.